things are getting pretty real. It's the evening session of Code A. I'm Wilt. Of course, with me is Kaldor. Who else could it be?
And we are ready to go.
We are.
And we are really excited about
I'm like, the countdown is starting, and
I wish. I want to get these games started. We have 4 exciting matches for you guys. We already had the morning session, and it was pretty cool, but now things get real. These are the games that most people are waiting for.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some really high-level play this evening, and there's such a good lineup of players. Nesty is, I think everyone's got his eyes on him. We've also got Fantasy. You've got Shine, Rain.
Rain and Fantasy, the 2 players that I want to see today. Rain is up against Shine, and we have, of course, Fantasy up against Zenio. This is going to be really, really good. But guys, before we jump into the first best of 3, there's one thing that we want to mention. We already talked a little bit about it earlier today, but once again, at the weekend, Saturday, we have the GSL starting with a pre-season tournament. And the whole thing is going to be in Heart of the Swarm, as will be the next GSL season. That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, this is going to be the first time we, like I said earlier in the earlier session, we're going to have a LAN tournament with Heart of the Swarm. Like, these players are going to be sitting in booths playing Heart of the Swarm on maps nobody has seen before. It's going to be crazy. Howling Peaks is in the map pool. I just found out that means that basically we're going to see one base all-ins against each other again. It's going to be crazy.
And guys, when Wolf says LAN tournaments, don't get all too excited just yet. The technology isn't just there yet. We're working on it, but we have them offline here at the studio.
Yes, it's going to be an offline event. Yeah. Nobody is going to be playing from home. There's nobody in the house. Not like, and his host is like, it's like when it's like calls out Seal, he's like back and like somebody holds like an iPad up and you see him like in a video thing. He's like sitting there on his computer. He's like, yeah, I'm at home. I'm studying right now.
We just get the info that we are jumping into the game. Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, no, that was really bad. I'm like, it was a bad joke. Anyways, go on. Please continue.
Yeah, well, here we have our players. Season 1 in Code A, the round 2 players.
These are our players who advanced already, basically.
Exactly. We have Trust, we have Young, we have Hero, Avenge, Yoda, Lure, Shine, and Yonghwa made it through. This is, by the way, the Samsung Khan Shine. We have another Shine competing today, the ex-GSL Shine, who's now at Team MVP.
Yep, and here are the rest of our players down here at the bottom who did advance. It's Labyrinth, Maru, Killer, Flash, Byun, and some other players that I will just have to tell you guys about later. Here are results from earlier this morning, though.
We have a 2-1 for Crazy O Vampire, flying without problems against Arthur, while SOS 2-0'd S2. And then in the last game, Hack didn't stand a chance against True in a very weird first game. On Daybreak, he took a lead, and then game number 2, he closed the series. But here we have the games, the 4 games that we are going to cast live right now.
Trap is up against the newly teamless Alive, Fantasy faces Zenio, Shine faces Rain, and Nesty faces HS, otherwise known as Haruhi. Maybe a pretty awesome day of matches, and here we go, starting things off.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me to pick a favorite match out of those 4. I would say that the 2 in the middle are probably the most exciting ones, even though we have Nesty playing in the 4th game. But map number 1 is going to be Trap versus Alive. A great Terran versus Brothers that we have here.
Trap has this picture here where it looks like they tried to take one photo of him and he messed up and he started laughing, kind of like he was about to laugh, and they took the second one and then they used that picture as his picture. You know what I'm saying? You see that?
That's sometimes actually the case. I've been here several times when they took the pictures of the players, especially when Mana was in Korea, and they had to redo his pictures over and over again because either he was starting to laugh or suddenly he was looking all too serious, and they're like, wait, you can smile a little bit, that's fine.
Fnatic, on the other hand, does not look all too happy in his photo.
Alive.
Yeah, didn't I say Alive?
No, you said Fnatic.
Oh my,
probably because you're still thinking about him leaving Fnatic.
That's
and now
true.
Being teamless.
I'm sure Fnatic's not happy with his face there either.
There you have Alive in the GSL hoodie.
Yeah, and unlike his former picture that we just saw, his hair is back to black here.
Yeah. Back to black, and in game number 1 on a Kill and Flats, we're gonna find out who takes the lead here. It's a Protoss versus Terran here at the GSL, the first round of Code A. This is Trap versus Alive. Guys, let's get ready, let's jump into the game. This is GSL with Kal and Wolf. Starting to the top left for STX Seoul, we have our Protoss in yellow. It is
STX Seoul 트랩.
There he is in his blue jersey. He's up against the former Fnatic Terran, a champion. He is
Alive.
winning IPL, not GSL.
Fnatic announcing, well, they basically just published the news that we have Alive and Oz leaving the team. 2 new players are going to join very soon. 2
Europeans.
academy players from Europe are going to join Fnatic really soon, like the main team. But Alive now a free agent. And talking a little bit about this matchup and about Alive, I actually have to say that right now I'm a little bit worried for him when I look at his statistics against Protoss. In general, this is like his strongest matchup. If you look over all the games that he has played in his career, then with a 57% win ratio, the matchup against Protoss is the one that he really excels. But looking at his gaming history, this is where it gets a little bit worrisome. He lost to Huang Xing with an 0-2 in December. He lost to a Hero without taking a map. He lost against Arthur. This was actually in the NASL Season 4. It was back in November. Then he lost to JYP. He lost to Sasa. He lost to every Protoss player for about 3 months that he faced in televised matches. Of course, this is one of those games where you have a long time to prepare for. You know up front who you're going to face, which matchup you're going to play. So I'm pretty sure that he has a lot of people to practice with. But still, recently, his Terran versus Protoss was a bit shaky.
Yeah, a little bit so. And I'm really curious to see how much he's improved during his little phase of downtime, because it used to be that you'd see Alive regularly in this tournament, Code A, and you'd sometimes get him in the up and downs, or very rarely in Code S, but you'd see him in GSL no matter what, because he was kind of like the top player for GSL. And now, Fnatic not in the GSL, he's been missing for a while, he's going for factory play.
Yeah, he's going for the factory here. And
probably going to be a Hellbat drop.
well, he would probably love to go for a Hellbat drop, but we have to wait a little bit longer until we can use the Hellbats here. Blizzard just talking a bit about them, and they just posted a statement, I think it was today or yesterday night, I'm not quite sure, where they said that one of the solutions that they have to the problem with the Hellbat drop is that they are thinking about making the cargo space of the Medivac, making them worth like 4 squares instead of 2.
I think they want to wait and see the preseason of GSTL before they make any balance changes. But we'll see if they want to wait that long. Well, we'll talk about that as the GSTL approaches, but because we could talk about this all day, I think.
Yeah, GSTL starting on Saturday and Sunday and Monday if you are only catching the VOD and not the live show, and jumped right into the game, so make sure to check that one out. It's going to be great, it's going to be in Heart of the Swarm, it's going to be new and all exciting.
Yes. Now, going back to this game, we are going to have, it looks like, Banshees as a fall. Alive is not doing that Hellion drop with Marine Pressure and or Marine Pressure with Hellion, or Hellion Pressure with Marine Drop. Both are popular strategies. It depends on which one you want to put in the medevac. It's really popular on 2-player maps right now, but Alive going for Banshees instead.
And you know what's funny? I talked a little bit about Live struggling against Protoss. Same is true for Trap in this matchup. You look at his gaming history, and in the up and downs, he already had a hard time against Happy and against Dream. He lost against both of them. But then you go even further, and you find matches against Tasia, you find games against Fantasy and against Byung, and he lost every single one of them. So these 2 guys, they have to cross like a bit of a hurdle today. Both of them have to overcome this obstacle of their minds being a bit trapped in the stagnant point.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice micro here by Alive, trying to take that Zealot's hit points down as far as he can. One thing I've noticed about Alive's play here in this game is he waited about 50 gas extra to get his cloak, so his cloak is a little bit delayed.
Yeah.
And that actually might affect this game. With the rush distance, it probably won't, but it's just something to consider, some extra information I want to give you guys. And look at what he's doing here. He's adding additional barracks, so he will probably follow this up with siege tanks.
Exactly. There's no expansion for him inside anyway. He's going for one base play against Trap. And Trap wants to know what's up. He has no clue so far, so he's building the Robo. This will help him against the Banshees with the Cloak, but also give him a little bit of an idea what's going on at the bottom right of the map. He needs to know that there is no command center. This is vital information for him now, because he will have to cut probes.
He absolutely will. Right now, he's still powering those out as long as he can until he knows what's going on. A Forge is started for Trap, which is useful in some ways, actually, in this situation.
What I really like, just coming back to another point before we go back to the Forge, he's going for double Observer, so he sends one across the map. This will leave him in a position where he has one Observer at home to defend against the Cloak Banshee, so also really important to note here. But yeah, back to the significance of the Forge.
Yeah, the significance of the Forge means he can make cannons, which of course will help him out against a push like this until the siege tanks arrive. And, you know, he doesn't have to make cannons, but The Observer needs to turn around right away. He has not turned the Observer around. There it goes. But this Banshee's doing so much damage already. Multiple kills. He does not target it, though, so he goes for the Stalker here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that was really the best choice. He could have killed 2 additional probes if he would have gone for the probe focus. But he still takes down 7 in total, so that's well worth it.
Where's that bunker going on?
At the front.
Was that the one he just remade on? Okay. Another Banshee comes in here, and 2 Stalkers warping to greet him. He's got the Observer ready.
And guys, we still have probes being produced for Trap, and he is currently looking at his robotics bay finishing. +1 armor has been started. Alive is not set up, not really good to go just yet, but Trap doesn't cut probe production at all. He is still continuing to produce harvesters and is looking at 40 to 29 harvesters at this point.
He also made a robotic support bay, which is a very useful structure against something that's this marine heavy. Obviously, the siege tanks can do decent against Colossi, but if you can cut down the marine numbers and have your zealots come in and finish everything else off, that's exactly what you want. He only has 3 Banshees. He didn't make any more than that. It's still scary, though. If the Observers get targeted down, for example, and then he uses Cloak, that can be game-ending.
And that siege mode is now halfway done. Still probes being produced. Extended thermal lens has been started. So for Live, this is of course like a no-brainer. If you don't do damage with this attack and trap defense, then this game is over. Live does not have the economy to fall back on maybe a second wave, but he will pull a lot of SCVs with this. He is definitely all in. He needs to do damage. If Trap defends this with Colossi, with extended thermal lens, with everything at the front, then Alive has no chance of bouncing back if he didn't do a significant amount of damage to his opponent's economy.
This timing for Alive is really strange. He's waiting such a long time he's waiting for combat shields. Normally when you go to combat shields you go a little bit faster, and you can't do combat shields and cloak. You can do Banshees and Marines and combat shields, but not cloak Banshees and siege tanks and Marines and combat shields. Like, it's really, really difficult. He's given Trap enough time to not only have +1 armor, but range with 2 Colossi. So this is going to be really tough for Alive to actually make work. Meanwhile, he is getting a few more kills, though, with the Banshee here.
Yeah, he actually has a lot of Banshees here. He has 4 in total, but he's doing a significant amount of damage to those. He's trying to take down the pylon, but not quite able to do so, and that would have empowered the robotic spade and the forge.
Yeah, that would have delayed those upgrades both.
He can actually still go in.
Yeah, but there's a second pylon remade next to it, so he will be able to finish them regardless.
But coming back to your point with the 2 Colossi, you know, with this many Banshees, he can actually target down those Colossi. That's what they are for.
Yes.
He doesn't have Vikings. So with this many Banshees, it's really difficult for Trap to get enough Stalkers and to protect his Colossi.
The army supply is vastly in favor of Alive. The army composition is better for Trap.
This would be the best flank ever. But
he wants to damage these Marines as much as possible as Colossi. Great micro by Trap. Exactly what he wants to do before the tanks are sieged up. He's even going to tank some of those shots because of the shields.
Really well done here.
That was extremely well done. He has to make sure he does have enough for the Banshees. He cannot fight this directly, not yet. He needs more units. He should actually just try to stall as much as possible.
And another siege up for Alive. He wants to slowly frog lead forward. That's exactly what he does here. Yeah. Alive trying to protect his Marines.
Trap wants him to siege up as many times as possible before he's in range of the Nexus. So he wants him to unsiege, siege, unsiege, siege as many times as possible. Observer, did it get sniped? Yes. Where's the next Observer?
Yeah, he needs to.
He doesn't have it.
I think it's at the bottom right. He doesn't have an Observer. He has no.
He sends it back in, but he's losing a lot of units before he gets back in there. That was scary, but Alive is really just not at the level of production that Trap is right now.
Exactly, the production level is so much better for him. 77 supply against 61 army supply, that is in favor of the Protoss player. Alive trying to go in here, trying to take down the anti of his opponent. More Stalkers have to be warped in. That's exactly what Trap does. And now he's moving down into the siege check range. And those Marines, they are not in a happy place.
There are way too many Colossi. There's not a lot of anti-air, but he'll be able to remake it with warp-ins after the rest of the siege tanks fall. He can just do a warp-in.
Those Stalkers, they are nearly gone.
He needs to do a warp-in, and he needs to do it further away from where he's doing it, but I still feel like he should be fine here. He just needs to pull those Colossi away, take out the Banshees, and Alive is going to have to GG here.
Alive is down to 29 supply against 87. The 2 base economy of Trap is just way too strong, and there it is, the inevitable GG. Trap taking a 1-0, well played here.
What an old school timing by Alive. You know, we're seeing this build come back more and more recently against Protoss, but with combat shields and cloak, you wait so long that if you make your robotic support bay as aggressively as Trap did, then you're going to have enough Colossi to destroy this. But if you delay your robotic support bay and try to get Immortals out, for example, because you've misread the situation, you think you're dealing with mostly tanks, and a faster push, then this build of the life is done actually beats you because it's just, I mean, it's a choice of composition.
Well, right now we have Whirlwind coming up. So the last map was a 2-player map and Alive, not successful with the strategy that he chose. Now he's up against his opponent in a very big map, a 4-player map. Trap against Alive in the second game. Trap looked really, really solid in the first map.
Yeah, he did. Just a great defense. Really nice reactions. Making 2 observers, playing very safely. And Whirlwind, a much bigger map. Probably going to see a more late game oriented build from Alive. Perhaps a 1-rack suspend. We could see Heli and Marine drops though. It's all up to him. He needs to make a good choice here. He's 1 win away, that is of STX Soul Trap, from going back down to Code B and does not want that.
Yeah, if Alive loses another game, then he is back to Code B. We have Trap now on the verge of getting into the second round of the GSL Code A. We'll find out if he's able to pull through here. Let's jump into the game. GSL Code A, round 1 with Cullen Wolf.